Alrighty, I'm going to talk about my experience with ABM, both with Propensity as well as before Propensity. To start, I guess, with my ABM journey, and I'll do this quickly, but my I was the co-founder and CEO of a company called Upsider. We were acquired by a company called Recruiter.com in 2021, and as part of that acquisition, I inherited some other responsibilities in business units and sales teams and et cetera. And at that company, we're about 40 million in revenue annually, and about 20 salespeople, and give or take a handful of BDRs. We decided to roll out an ABM platform because we wanted more signal in the market, obviously looking to grow more aggressively and be more efficient with our sales and marketing efforts. We chose 6sense and worked with them for about a year and a half. Um, the experience was kind of a little bit up and down. I think there were two big challenges that we faced using the 6sense platform. Number one was the intent data that they provided was at a company level. And we were targeting enterprise and upper mid-market. And so when they say, hey, IBM is in market for your product, and IBM has 100,000 plus employees, I don't know how many employees they have, but a lot. How do we know it's like our contact, and like who should we reach out to in these large organizations, multiple business units, et cetera? We also found that all the way down to like even into the mid-market was still like confusing for us. So that was a bit of a challenge. And then the other big challenge on that front was the integration and how our sales team interacted with it. I think it was like, and this may have changed, but at the time it was like an iframe, and it was really a choppy experience for our sales team. And so they were, you know, I don't want to say struggling, but they weren't diving in to use it every day. And when you combine that with the data, false positives it just created a challenging environment. So we ended up like canceling that agreement. And around the time we were having the challenges, I kind of came across Propensity, and we decided to give Propensity a shot, but because what their platform seemed to do was solve these two big issues that we had. And so the Propensity platform has the contact level visibility. And so if it's back to that IBM example, we could see it's Jane Smith or Bob Thomas, and allow us to be more targeted around what they're doing on our website, or what ads they're seeing, or what they're clicking on, and we could take better actions as a result of that. So that was pretty awesome. And as well as the integration with Salesforce was much more turnkey and built into the native flow of Salesforce. So what we ended up setting up was, we had our ICPs, we had our contacts. Propensity also had, I feel like, at least when we made the switch, like a lot more channels, and we could just do more targeting. And then with the contact level data, we have like the visibility of who's engaging with all this stuff, who's visiting the website, even though they don't necessarily fill out a demo request form. And then with the tight integration into Salesforce, we were able to have some nice automated workflows in there. And so my signal is always like, how does the sales team, because obviously marketing tools are fine, but is the sales team really kind of leaning into this signal that we're building? And I think the proof point for me was I accidentally, as a user error, turned off a campaign for like 3 or 4 days. I didn't realize I did it, and one of our salespeople reached out and was like, hey, like, what happened? I'm logging in the morning and I don't have like my Propensity tasks set up for me. Like, what's going on? Of course, I checked and realized I made the errors. So, so that was like really good signal for me that that the team was really into it and using it and having good user data. And so, since that point, I left Recruiter.com. I now work with a bunch of VCs and a number of their portfolio companies. I've actually rolled out Propensity to 3 other companies, and similar experience, like the contact level data, the native integration, both to Salesforce and have also integrated into HubSpot, setting up tasks, just allowing the team to use their kind of normal flows have been great. And then I think the other thing we've introduced that's probably worth talking about is, we're also like trying to figure out how to best optimize the signal that Propensity is giving us. And sales team, we really want our reps focused on opportunities and and trying to close deals. And so we have our BDR team, as opposed to like taking this signal and going for the kill every time and trying to like, all right, hey, let's book a demo, let's book a meeting. We're kind of looking at them as more of like, I guess for lack of a better term, like investigators in a way, where it's like, hey, we have this signal, let's go investigate the signal. And that doesn't necessarily always mean just go call the VP or C-level contact that ultimately will be signing the contract. But hey, let's reach out to the day-to-day contacts or some other folks in the organization that may be more likely to talk to us, and let's get a sense of validation of the signal that Propensity is providing us, and if they actually have an evaluation, and so that when we can validate that, then we can push that down to the sales team. They're more trustworthy of that data because we've talked to someone who's we validated what they're trying to do internally. So that's been a and I look at that of like, for every 1,000 cold calls we make as an example, what's happening? Are we getting into conversations, and those 1,000 calls, are they leading to more meetings? And then part two is, are those meetings converting into quality opportunities? And since we've kind of switched to this like investigator uh, approach, it's we're getting more value out of each 1,000 cold calls that we make. So that's been kind of the latest update that we've made, and we're always testing different creatives and things like that, and A/B testing. But as I assume all marketers are. But that's been the experience. And I think, again, I can just go back to, is the team leaning in, and are they using it, and are they getting value? And it's been great as I've rolled this out now numerous times. So yeah, that's been the experience.